So, no more likes on Instagram is what I wanted to talk about in this video. If you don't already know, Instagram is flirting with the idea of removing likes across the entire platform, and they have begun rolling it out already in Canada. And what they're doing is just removing the like bar from underneath all of the pictures and videos that people post, and only making them visible to the person who actually posted the picture or the video. It seems to me that most people think that it's going to be a good idea for Instagram to go ahead and remove likes. You know, YouTube personalities, Instagram influencers, people of that sorts are kind of on board with this. So I just kind of wanted to give my opinion on what I think will come of it, because typically you only hear about this from the larger accounts, people with a ton of followers and things like that. So even if no one decides to watch this video, I think it'll still be cool to go back and kind of look and see what I was right about and what I was wrong about. I want to touch on three main topics in this video. And the first being what I hope will happen. The second being what I think will happen. And third, I just want to talk about the state of social media and whether or not this is going to work, or if this is a good thing or a bad thing. And yeah, we'll get straight to it. The first thing that I hope that happens with this new change is that people start engaging and commenting with real genuine feedback rather than, just BS, one-worded, candid answers with no real emotion or any feeling behind them. I think subconsciously we make decisions on whether or not we're gonna, comment or engage with the post by how many likes it already has, and rather than the post being, a good post or something interesting, which can go hand in hand at times. But ultimately, I think there's barely any real engagement on Instagram right now. People mostly are commenting and, liking things for selfish reasons. And it kind of dumbs down a platform for someone who, genuinely likes to engage with other people in a bigger community of people out there. What I also hope happens is that people stop doing, fake stuff for likes. And we all know the kind of things that's going on out there, renting cars, getting all the money out of the bank and throwing it on the bed and then putting it back in the bank. All that kind of stuff that, gets people to like and gets people to comment on your post and makes you feel good for a minute. But in reality is just making a lot of other people feel like shit. And hopefully some of this, this change will cut down on some of that. So I want to see how that works. So I kind of just wanted to dive in to what I hope will happen first off, because that's the more optimistic side of me. And I hope that this will be good for everyone on Instagram and the platform as a whole. But ultimately, I want to dive into what I think will happen. And personally, what I think will happen, even with the likes being removed, people will find other vanity metrics to measure themselves amongst their peers. And whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't really know. But I do know that humans have kind of always done this. I think it's just a social order of things, finding a social rank, hence to the word social media. So it kind of makes sense that that's how social media works. And I don't necessarily know if it's 100% social media platform's job to even regulate that, but it is cool that they're trying something. So yeah, I think that it's cool that the platforms are trying to change things. Just for me looking back, I was actually in high school, I believe, when Instagram came out. And I remember posting pictures and being excited about my outfit or, you know, what me and my friends were doing. And, I would go back and look at the pictures and check the likes, every 10 minutes. And I can remember not getting so many likes sometimes and feeling kind of down on myself and like, a little let down. And at the time, I was, you know, not too crazy about it, where I would delete pictures and things like that. But I had other friends who, if they liked it, if the picture didn't get enough likes, they were going to delete it. And whether or not how they really felt about it, most people probably weren't really talking about that. But I know that it kind of affected some of my friends a little worse than it did me. And I think partially that just was due to the people around me and like my family and friends who, kind of talked to me and built up some confidence in myself. So I was kind of self aware enough to not let it bother me too much. And that kind of leads me right into my next point of where I think social media and Instagram and Facebook is even at right now as a whole. You know, yeah, it's awesome that they're trying to, maybe mitigate some of the damage that this could cause to young kids. But ultimately, I don't think this is their fault. And I think that parents really need to be having these conversations with their kids early on before they're ever even on the platform. And I think that's something that, you know, us adults that are on the platform need to spread that same message to other adults so that when they're having kids that they're having these kinds of conversations. Because if kids are feeling sad and depressed about not getting enough likes on Instagram, I think that comes back to home life. And are you talking to them and trying to build up their confidence and making them realize that, you know, likes on Instagram or Facebook is not the end of the world, and you should be so lucky that you're even alive in America, especially. I think for me, even at 24, had I not ever heard, Gary Vee talking about being on social media to talk about your truth and spread your message rather than just the likes and the followers, I think even for me now, it would have affected me, because social media has been a slow and tedious process for myself. And growing from 0 to 200 has been a difficult process. So for a young kid, I can only imagine what that would be like amongst their peers, even, because your friends at school know how many followers you have and they see what you're posting, and some of them are laughing about it or making jokes about it, or you know deliberately not following you, and that could be hurtful. And I could totally sympathize and understand where they are with that. So ultimately it comes back to these kinds of conversations with kids. I think are so vital and so important, especially from this newer generation, this younger generation, because they've had cell phones and social media their entire lives now. And it's going to change how they interact with people. And there's a ton of positives from this. This is not a bash on social media. I think it's a good thing. I think kids are in touch with their friends all day, every day now. But if we're not having these kinds of conversations with them, talking to them about how they're gonna deal with it, then and how much time they're going to spend on it even at times too is another conversation. I think, of course, they're going to be a little sad when they don't get, likes and followers, or they get made fun of, or someone leaves them a nasty comment. So I'm just going to wrap this video up by saying thank you for watching. I tried to be thoughtful about what I was saying, and I hope that if there's any parents out there watching this right now, I hope that this helps you, and I hope this helps you deal with your kids and how you deal with them with social media. And if there's any kids out there that's watching this, I hope that this makes a difference for you, and I hope that you know that you are special and you don't need likes and you don't need followers to be special. So just keep doing you, and I wish the best of luck to you guys. I would say like, follow, subscribe, but it doesn't feel right here. So have a good day.